Just bring you up to date a little bit from last month. We talked about one of the Supreme Court rulings that was, or one of the rulings that was coming out on Obamacare that we thought would be interesting to watch. And it probably turned out to be more interesting than we thought it would. And that was the Halbig versus Sebelius, where they were indicating that how the health care law read was that the only participants that could receive subsidies would be those participants that bought off a state exchange. And therefore, all the states that didn't do an exchange, if people had bought off the government exchange, they couldn't be subsidized. So there was a ruling, 2-1 in the Appeals Court of D.C. for Halbig, and the Appeals Court in Virginia ruled against. So you know, that's one that's just still all up in the air, and goodness knows what's going to happen with that. I want you to know that the Tea Party has 3 what they call toolkits available. One addresses the border crisis, another addresses the IRS, and then there's a third one on immigration. What these toolkits include are suggestions for scripts, sample emails, how to address the media, what to do with Facebook, twits, personal emails, all those kinds of suggestions. And so if you guys are interested in getting one of those toolkits, what I'd like you to do is just give me your email address, put it down here on the sign-in sheet and say toolkit and which one you want, and I'll just email it to you. I think that's the easiest way to do that. So now we're going to go into upcoming events. So on Monday, we have Kathy McMorris Rogers giving us a total of 1 hour in our town hall meeting. I think that's extremely generous of her. That'll be at the Lincoln Center. For most of us who know where that is, it's 1316 North Lincoln. It's a great time for you there to be there to express your concerns about the illegal immigration, and then to show up in numbers so you can offset the numbers that will be there as far as pro-amnesty and that type of thing. So I do really encourage you to attend. I think it will be extremely well controlled and regulated. So I think last year they did have an event where somebody was tossed out. So anyway, you can't do a lot in an hour, but she's here for an hour on Monday. This coming Thursday is the Ponderosa Women. They meet on the second, I guess it's the second Thursday each month, or anyway, they're on Thursday, and they're going to do a voting pattern analysis and have the city talk about the ballot measure that's on there as far as streets and parks. Northside Conservative Action Alliance, they meet on the 3rd Tuesday each month at Roundtable Pizza up on Francis, and they will have Larry Haskell, who's candidate for county prosecutor, speaking. So any of these, you know, if you want the information, holler after. I can give you the addresses unless you've been really fast and written down all this, and we'll get going. And then on August 20th, and this is an event that I really want you to mark your calendars for, you'll have Trevor Loudon addressing our group here in Spokane. He's a gentleman, he's from New Zealand. If any of you have watched Agenda, he appeared in Agenda, Grinding America Down. He's written initially the book Barack Obama and the Enemies Within, and now he has a newer book, The Enemies Within, which talks about our whole political system and the enemies within, and how we're being manipulated and changed, and why our country is really turning as socialist as it is. So I think it will be a good educational event to come to. And so that will be right here in this room next Wednesday. And we are going to be charging $5 at the door. And if you purchase his book, I'll be giving you a ticket for the $5, and if you purchase the book, I'll give you the $5 back. So that'll help him on his book tour also. I think you're going to find it to be very, very eye-opening. Then on August 30th, we have what's called Liberty Fusion, which I understand is being hosted by the Republican Liberty Caucus of Washington State. Now, I know several of us attended a meeting this last week with Chris Ann Hall. She's a constitutional attorney, and I have to tell you that was an excellent, excellent presentation. And, pardon? Okay, so and that's the Northwest Grassroots YouTube. So if you want, I learned a lot. It was pretty darn interesting. Cindy, I know you were there. What did you think?
That was great.
Yeah. So excellent presentation. I really encourage you to be there. August 30th is a Saturday. And then next month's movie night, we're going to be talking, it's a live presentation. We'll be talking about the real state of the economy. And you're going to learn a lot about how to analyze and understand the numbers and understand what we're not being told, that kind of thing. And it'll be presented by Mike Voles, who is our Chief Deputy Treasurer of Spokane County. The man is absolutely brilliant. And I think we're just extremely lucky to have him in our Spokane community, filling the position he does. And when you just got to come. I think it'll blow you away. Okay, so our Washington State primary is over. Last Tuesday was a pretty darn good night for many of us. I thought it was interesting. Our turnout, our voter turnout, registered voters, only 35%. And the lowest participation was in precinct 6500. Only 8.6% of those voters turned out. Highest was in 6223 at almost 56%. So got to have a lot better voter participation in the general election. We know that primaries are normally low, but you know, we got to ask ourselves why. I mean, our chance to have our voices heard is in elections. Why, and in Washington, all you have to do is mail in a ballot, for goodness sakes. So it's pretty crazy that we don't have better participation. So now the work does begin, and your help is needed. I really encourage you to get with campaigns and support them, volunteer for them. We have some pretty crazy races that'll be happening, and you're going to be meeting a few of the folks that we feel deserve to be elected tonight. So what we'll do is we're sort of going to start in alphabetical order. And so that means we're going to start with Aline. And did I see Aline? Here comes the storm. Now, I think it's pretty interesting. When you look at this, you can see the power of the incumbent. And the other thing that I want to point out is the power of the incumbent using their name on envelopes. On every mailing that this lady uses, our auditor uses, she has her name on it. And I feel this is a type of campaigning that she continues for her every year in office. And I'm looking at proposing a resolution to our county commissioners to require that these elected offices do not put their names on it. Because for goodness sakes, they're temporary, they're elected. It doesn't mean they're going to be in there forever and ever. And it's our tax dollars buying the stationery, and I don't think it's right that they can do this. So Aline has an uphill battle. I believe this is advertising, and so I'll work on a resolution. Hope all of you will work with me and support it, but I think it's time that we control some of our spending, because they obviously don't. So Aline, welcome, and I'm going to give you this. And I think this is, yeah, just stand by the chairs there, right in there. And I have to say, I think Aline did an incredible job against Vicki, who is just entrenched in the office.
Just real quick for the speakers, the reason the chairs are there is because of the video. We just don't want you to walk out of the video frame. So the one in the front is to keep you in the video, and the one on the side is to keep you from being in front of the screen. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm learning about these things. These are hard, actually. Campaigning is a very interesting occupation. I think giving birth must be the hardest, and second is campaigning. I did well. I'm very pleased with that. I have a great deal of thoughts on that. Some of them I will not share with you tonight. I've got a plan. I'm very excited about that, with reaching people with very specific ideas in very specific areas to target them. I have a problem. My problem is I like to give too much information. TMI is my problem. I want you to know information. I want you to be excited about various things. Voter education. Most of you know about that somewhat. And the problem is knocking on doors. Do they really care? I'm going to them. They're not coming to me. So Aline Lindstrand for auditor will be my rally cry from now till November. They need to remember the name. That's going to be huge. How are they going to remember my name? I need your help. And by needing your help, that's multi-phased, divided in different areas for people to help. Many of you have helped on campaigns. I've helped on a ton of them in the past. Myself, money is always an issue. I'm just about ready to order my third time for signs. Anybody notice some signs got stolen? You get a sign that's this high, that wide, they're $38. Depending on the quantity that you order. They're not cheap, just so you know. I've got to replace locations, quite a few of them. Yard signs, those things, you know, yard signs, if you order a certain quantity, I haven't seen anything much less than about $5. If you get only 100 at a time, I try not to do that. I did that once. They go up to, you know, $6 and $6.15. They all add up. So money is important for signage, for coverage. The other thing is advertising. There will be radio. There will be print ads for coverage. So with the education portion of it, with out in the auditor's realm, Cecily hit on a real interesting point, is that what the advertising does is to get my name out there. It is very, very important. All the races are important, but I have to tell you, and I don't think it's just my opinion, that the auditor's race is right up there at top. We have people, we have procedures, we have policies that determine what gets done and how things get done with ballots. It's critical that you have the highest integrity and that you have the best systems out there that are the most transparent. And I don't think that's happening right now, which is why I'm running. So I do appeal to you for getting together with your neighbors. Do they have a sign? Do you know anybody that needs a sign? Let me know. You can email the campaign, www.alineforauditor.com. Try to keep up with the most, whatever the thing. And the last thing, really, really important, next Tuesday night, sorry to the group up on the north side, I'm having an event at Trezzy Farms. It is a fundraiser. It's going to be a nice, very nice event. Please come. Italian food is fabulous. The wine is wonderful. Trezzy Farms, and I don't have probably all of your emails, but I'll make sure you get it, and if you want to pass that out, that would be great. Next Tuesday night, 6:30, the program will start at 7:15, and I would love a wonderful turnout.
Thanks, Aline. Now our next person is Bob.
Doug Orr first.
Doug Orr. Okay, I know how to go back and forth, so that's all right. So this is a very, very interesting race. I was amazed. You look at Knezevich there with $79,600 raised. You're going, oh my gosh. He spent $62,000, which is practically twice as much as Doug. And, you know, for 9 months, he had his face plastered on every darn billboard in town. First of all with Crime Check, and then with his political ads. So he's the incumbent. He's on the radio. He gets the news as often as he decides to have some kind of a crisis. And I think Doug did extremely well when you consider those circumstances. This is a David versus Goliath kind of race. And Doug needs your support. He really does.
Thank you for having me tonight, and Bob's being modest. I've got a meet and greet on the South Hill that I need to get to, but it really hasn't stopped. And I realize, first of all, for the signs, I did get 500 new signs in yesterday. Woohoo! And to replace the ones that have been stolen. But get on my webpage, orforsheriff.com, go under supporters. If you want one, just type in your address there, and we deliver. So make sure you do that. Some of these numbers do look daunting, but I want you to understand when you look at them, for a turnout of relatively 35%, we got more than 25,000 people to vote for us. And that's a big deal to me. For a political no-neighbor to come in and to go door-to-door and have an aggressive door-to-door campaign and to come up with those numbers never being known before, I was very proud of our group to do that. I went through 2 pairs of shoes doing it. But when we did that, though, we found out that the message is good. I've been getting some input this week on some of the things I need to change. You're probably going to see a lot less professor and a lot more cop. That's a good thing. You're probably going to see me change a few things as we deal with businesses, too, in this community. But going door to door, the message was good. They know that I have the ability to thwart off this new jail program that my opponent seems to want. And it seems that everyone is coming around together to say we don't really need this except for him. And I need to convince him that we don't need it. I've got a real good program for 2 programs for property crimes, validated programs that work. Bring those in 6 months to a year to have them up and running and bring it back down to where it should be. So that people, when they come to this community, they see that we have lower crime and that our schools are good. And civilian oversight. I'm not giving up on that. My opponent is just beating his head against the wall over in Olympia to try to get that bill passed and getting nowhere, not even getting out of committee. I say bring it back here to Spokane. Let's get civilian oversight with an ordinance. We need people to know that our deputies and our sheriff's department they're not soldiers. They don't work on a battlefield. They work in a community and they work for us. And going door to door in a very polite way, people got to see that I love the Constitution, and they got to know that I'm unapologetic about that, and that in a time of crisis, you're going to need a strong sheriff, and you're going to have someone that stands up for the Constitution, someone that secures it and protects it, not abuses it. If you've got a rifle, I'm going to hand you a shovel. If you've got a shovel, I'm going to hand you a rifle, and together we will keep this community. Thank you for having me, and thank you for supporting me.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, now I'll go back to Bob McCaslin. And I really was amazed. I have to say I was surprised at this race, and other people are saying I wasn't. But when you look at those numbers, you can see the person that raised the most money came in with the least number of votes. I thought that was pretty interesting. One thing that I want to caution you all on is that Diana held back, and she is starting this with about $13,000 in her treasury. So we need to catch Bob up in that area, and I really think he is the best man for representing the 4th District, and I know we need him over in Olympia because he understands the education system. So this is a man to support.
Thank you. Oh boy, what a privilege it is to be here tonight, and I'd like to thank all of you who voted for me, who spread the good word. I guess the thing that I had noticed most doorbelling is there's just a lot of stink out there, you know, that people seem to spread about each other, and I hope I have set a good example by not doing that, and I really think that it's way more effective to be able to explain what you have to offer rather than to spend your time attacking your opponents. And it's been a privilege to be able to meet a lot of people, so, and get out there and get the good word out. So I've got a couple of things to share with you. Number one, you know, our campaign slate, and it should be easy to remember. I mean, it's government reform, number one. Number two, jobs in the economy. And number three, education. And under education, we need to get more of our tax dollars actually into the classroom and be able to keep good teachers. I'm I am proud to say my biggest political action committee are former parents and students that I've had in the past, and they've spread the good word, and I'm privileged to have a group like that. But those are the three main things, and interestingly enough, those are the three main things that people in Washington want to see be done in Olympia, is go after how government spends money and make sure that they're not wasting our money, and making sure that people in the legislature are treating it like it's your money and not theirs. And I promise to do that, to treat the money that we have in the legislature like it's your money, and I have to be very careful how I look to spend it. Great. So I've got just some encouraging facts to share with you to end this. One of the big problems we have in Olympia is the other side is always saying, "Oh, we don't have enough money, and if we don't raise taxes, we're going to be in really sad shape." And don't you want good schools? Don't you want good public services? And they'll go on and on and on. Well, these facts say different. And I have to preface all of this too, is that the state tends to make their projections low as far as what money they're getting in. But some encouraging things. Monthly revenue collections. The June forecast is being revised up by almost $400 million through the next biennia.
Is that just a little rounding error?
That must be what it is. And just this year, we have revenues coming in $89 million or 3.5% higher than the forecast, just in the last 2 months.
Wow.
That's really encouraging. It means that there are some things that are happening. Businesses are growing. Jobs have grown almost 11,000 new jobs since June. And that's more than double the forecast expectation of 5,400. So export growth is up 12% compared to a year ago, and agricultural products jumped up almost 63%. So that's encouraging. And I won't share any more, but the great thing is that's going to put Republicans in a great negotiating situation, when it comes to because this is a big budget year. So we've got a great position now to negotiate from, because all the time, the Democrats have been saying, "Oh, we need more money." Well, we've got it. Great. Now let's spend it wisely.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
So one thing that I noticed in this election cycle is that there were a couple of candidates that liked having check marks as far as, this is me and I get all these red check marks, and these are my opponents and they get X's, right? But one that really bothered me was the Matt Shea, Josh Aratola one. And so I want to talk to you just a teeny bit, so when you have people who got this and they say, well, what about, you understand the answer. So the first thing they have here with a big bad X is that Matt Shea is a personal injury lawyer. Matt is not a personal injury lawyer. Has he ever taken cases where he's represented a person with an insurance claim? Absolutely. But he also focuses on constitutional issues, things like that. Now, a few years back, he represented a person in Idaho on some property rights issues, which he won, and then 2 years later, this guy really turned out to be, the guy that he defended turned out to be a bad person. So now, because this man 2 years later happened to be a client 2 years before, it's Matt Shea's fault that this guy did something wrong. So, you're just going, this is crazy stuff. Next one is voted against Boeing coming to Spokane. There was never a bill in Olympia that addressed Boeing coming to Spokane. You all know there was a bill that was designed only for Boeing to give them tax breaks. It wasn't extended to other companies, not large companies, small companies, across-the-board companies. It was definitely a Boeing package which Boeing told them before they even voted on it that it wasn't good enough to keep them in Seattle. So Matt voted against it because he is for cuts and incentives across the board for businesses. He feels that our businesses are being heavily burdened. But why do you take one company and single them out and punish the others? So that's where this voted against Boeing coming to Spokane came from. So another totally untrue statement on a flyer. Next one, defends racist rancher in Nevada. Well, first of all, Cliven Bundy did not meet with any legislator that was there in Nevada. So they didn't meet. The same day that Bundy came out and said that the black people were better off as slaves than they are today, the Shea campaign came out and condemned that statement. And just so you know, there were about 8 legislators that were there from different states and things that way. And, you know, it was a property rights issue that Matt Shea was down there for. Had nothing really to do with defending Cliven Bundy as much as it has to do with taking a stand against the overreach of the federal government. Next one, cited by police for pulling an illegal handgun. You guys probably know, what's an illegal handgun?
No such thing.
You know, on a motorist in a road raid incident. Well, that one also, you know, the gun isn't illegal. As we all know, Matt's concealed weapon permit expired shortly before that, and there was never really, if you go there, that's on the website, you can read the thing, but it was something, he was cited for an inappropriate carrying of an armed weapon or something like that because he didn't have his CWP. And what I thought was interesting was the numbers of people that rushed in to renew their CWPs after this, because there's no notices or anything sent, and how many people look at them, you know, and whoop, all of a sudden, whoo, mine's expired too. So it was sort of interesting. And then the last one is refuses to support completion of the North-South corridor. Matt is on the Transportation Committee in Olympia. By the way, he's attended every one of those meetings. And he's voted to complete the freeway, but not by raising taxes. So that's where, you know, again, he didn't refuse to support it. He refuses to have our taxes raised when there are so many suggestions with how we can save money in our transportation package without raising taxes that they need to look at first before you determine that you've got to have more money. It's like your household budget. What do you fix before you figure out you have to go out and get a second or third job, right? So just wanted to let you know about that, so when you're addressed on those issues, you know that this was a very false, I feel, unprofessional flyer. And Matt is on vacation, and I think it's well earned, so he isn't here. Now, the next race that we have is our treasurer race. And this one's very close and dear to my heart because I happen to be Rob's treasurer. But I want to share a little something with you that I think is very unique about Rob. But before I do that, you know, you can take a look here at the amounts spent, and you see that Mary Cooney certainly raised a lot of money. She came in at the bottom. So it doesn't really mean that money equates votes. Name recognition helps, but I think the uniqueness of Rob Chase helps because he really he appeals to all party people. And so I want to just share a little something with you. I showed you Vicki Dalton's envelope before, right? How these people advertise by putting their names on their returns. So as you know that Skip Chilberg was the treasurer before Rob, and Linda Wolverton before him. And so I brought envelopes from the treasurer's office, and you see that they put labels over Linda's, and they put labels over Chip's, and and they don't put Rob Chase, Spokane County Treasurer, they just put Spokane County Treasurer on it. So he's not using the office for his own political gains. He's using up stationery that I feel should have only been to the Spokane County Treasurer anyway. And these are just some of the little things that he does, looking out for the county budget the way that you would even your own budget. You know, he's really a unique person. So I want you to welcome Rob, and I want you to elect him a treasurer.
Okay. Thank you, Cecily, and thank you for, at least the first step towards keeping me in office. Remember, I did take a 2-term limit, and you saw Mike Volz earlier. Hopefully, he'll be treasurer after I am, and the county will really be fortunate to have him, because he's just so wonderful to work with. So try to come to his presentation here in
September
the future.
9th.
Yeah, and you'll get to get a good look at him and look to see what I get to enjoy every day. A guy who's really loyal to the county, loyal to you guys, and just a very efficient, brainiac, and funny too. So, this is the Tea Party Patriots. Remember, it's kind of funny that, Tea Party, of course, T stands for taxed enough already, and that's my bailiwick now. So it seems, that's where I make my living, being a tax collector. And that's mostly what I do. But I think Chris Ann Hall the other night had a better acronym. She said, totalitarianism enough already. And I think that's what we have to be careful of. And it's not just, people you might say that come from the right, that want that. There's also the grassroots all across the spectrum that are worried about that. Now, there's a lot of good things that we get from taxes. We kind of have to have those. I'm a libertarian, but I really think libertarianism is difficult ever since the fall of man. Because there are reasons. You have to have safety. You have to have roads. While we live on this earth, you have to have street lighting. So you have to have some taxes. But what's local is best. Try to keep it as local as possible. And I got in trouble early on in the campaign because I spoke to a progressive group. They're mostly progressives, but they're called Spokane Moves to Amend the Constitution. And they wanted to have a constitutional amendment that overturns the Citizens United decision that allows corporations to be treated as human beings. And I agreed with them that I don't know if it's an amendment that's necessary. Maybe there's a different way of doing that, because that opens it up maybe to a whole can of worms. We have to be careful there. But I do agree there's a problem there when corporations from all across the world can donate to these campaigns. It really should be, and I agree with them, that it should be a living, breathing person who can actually vote that donates to campaigns, because it's gotten way out of hand. You see the money raised. Well, there are good people that would like to be in office. There are a lot of good people that are in office, and a lot of them in this room right now too. But it discourages good people from running for office. Why run if you're going to get smeared? And people that get into office are bought before they already get a chance to serve. So that's why I agree with them on that. So as I speak to you guys, I also want to speak to everybody I can. And you've got to be able to take risks. I might be able to be in trouble because there's, the militia's going to give a presentation there. Well, they have their beliefs too. Let them stand on what they believe on. Let the progressives stand on what they believe on. But we've got to start the discussion on a lot of these things. And it's not a Republican problem or a Democrat problem. It's an American problem. So we need to be able to take risks and not be afraid. That's one reason why voter turnouts are so low, is people, that's all I hear is, like Bob McCaslin said, all you hear is dirt on each other. And, it's too bad, but that's the way things happen. We shouldn't be doing that. People, it makes people afraid to say anything, and we have to take risks. We have to be able to start these discussions, and we have to have feedback from you and back from us, and that way, with all of us together, we can make good decisions. So thank you, Cecily.
Thanks, Rob. You got to watch these people that go to Toastmasters, because I learned that they told me that they talk and talk and talk. So it's so we have our next candidate is Tim Benn, and this is really an interesting one. And you start looking at what Rob Chase was just talking about, and you'll see that Rosselli has raised one heck of a lot of money there. And if you look at the PDCs, you're going to see that they're from unions, associations, PACs, Indians. pharmaceuticals and healthcare companies from Delaware, Tennessee, North Carolina, Illinois, things that way. And I just really wonder how the residents of the 3rd District would feel if they knew all the alliances that Marcus is building with these associations and people that have no concern about them whatsoever. It's pretty darn interesting.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. Actually, the Inlander did a great article on it. And it's the 3rd District. Everybody says it's a Democrat district. Well, in the 2/3 majority for tax increases, they voted every time to not have their taxes increased. There's a conservative streak. It's a little strange in the 3rd District. And I'm out doorbelling, and Democrats are putting my yard signs up. But they're not Democrats. They're people that have read the Spokesman Review for 30 years. They're people that have been avoided by the Republican Party for my entire life. Haven't seen a Republican. And the reason why is because we allow them to define us in that district, and we allow those seats just be taken continually every time. Looking at the numbers, I actually gain 5%. If you take the Libertarian vote and you put it in my race, I'm at the same place Nancy McLaughlin was in the general election in 2012, which is a huge victory in the district. So, and with a lot less money, of course. I wish I had the $180,000 she did. So I need a lot of support. Of course, monetary support is important, but tell your friends and neighbors. Talk to people in the 3rd District. If they live in the city and they think they're a Democrat, tell them to look at an independent Republican, because I am an independent Republican. I'm sick of top-down politics. I will vote in the legislature for the city of Spokane, not for a party, not for a special interest group, not for all of the people that fund campaigns. And that's what I'm fighting. I'm fighting the behemoth in the 3rd District. And really what they want to do is build a machine to take over further ground. What happens in Spokane doesn't stay there. The Spokane Valley is only an escape for now. The next escape is Idaho, and I don't think we want to leave our places to go over there. The tax increases happen in the city. You got Mike Fagan sitting right here. He's very outnumbered on the city council, and we can make that temporary. But we've got to get to the folks in the city, whether it's through my election or through the council elections next time. We have to save that city, because if we don't, they're going to take the whole state and continue to take the state. That's why we have a minority in the House of Representatives, is we put tons of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars into individual races as a Republican Party, and we forget about the rest. We need equal representation across the state. They're not Democrats. They just haven't been talked to in half of their lifetime if they're 60. So thanks for your support. There's an envelope back there with my name on it, and it should have your name on it with a little bit of cash inside. And then take a fingernail file as well, because our goal is to file down government waste, and everyone loves that.
Thanks, Tim. And last we have Vicki Horton, because I went alphabetical by first name. And Vicki is our current assessor and is doing a great job. This was an interesting race. She can tell you who Trainer is, and I'm sure that things will speed up now that we're on to the general. But definitely she has been representing all of us in Spokane County. So Vicki, come on up.
Thank you, Cecily. I'm in the box.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for your support through this campaign. I did notice that she's got 60.2%. It actually was 72%.
Really?
So, yeah, at the final. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So I was pretty pleased about that. I don't know if I want to tell you anything about Trainer other than he doesn't know beans from beans and how to grow them. So that's about it, all I have to say about him. But my main purpose up here, I think Rob Chase, Aline, Tim Fitzgerald, the clerk, and myself, all elected officials in there, we can have our county back. They can't fight all of us. So That's what we need. We need to get our county back, and we need to do what we need to do for all of our people that are running for election. Okay? And again, thank you so much for your support. I do appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be fast here. Do we have any announcements that we've missed? Okay, great. So now what we're going to do, I think there's someone here that I know very well, Mr. Carson, who is going to introduce our next speaker. And you know, this came to my attention really in our June meeting when Josh Aratola started telling me that militia were terrible and Matt Shea was awful for being with militia people and on. And I'm going, I don't know a lot about the militia. So how many in the room know a lot about the militia? Say the militia people know about the militia. So we're going to learn tonight. This is what this is all about, is let's learn. So that's why the title, what, why, and who are the militia?
Well, thank you very much, Cecily. A lot of you probably know me in this room. I've helped some campaigns, ran some political groups out in the Valley, vice president, president for a Republican group for a while. Anymore now, I'm a political atheist. I'll stand up here and say I'm tired of seeing hard Republicans coming in and voting against our Constitution, or people with lifelong Democrats putting an R after their name and our community voting them in. I mean, it's just that's not right. We're going to talk about the militia tonight because everybody's up on the southern border. I think this probably is an informed group. You know about some of the things happening there. Well, up until about half a year ago, this war on terror has kind of been a joke. How do you fight a war on terror? When the president, or the guy that thinks he's our president, goes out and releases 36,000 Class A felons among communities, opens the borders up, lets all groups come up, all sleeper cells from everywhere, we really do have a war on terror. Now, the game's ramped up. This is what I've been doing for the last probably 4 to 6 years. I'm a federal worker. I tell everybody I'm the Fed so they can relax in the group. Been doing this, about 4 to 6 years. And I got my good friend, the commander. I'm the executive officer, the XO. The commander I'm going to introduce here is Dan Hansen. He's a United States Army Ranger. He's been a police officer in San Jose. Everything in California is San somewhere, right? So with that said, I'd like to have Commander Hansen come up and take the presentation.
Yes, I think I've got this, right? So that's good. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to each and every one of you about a real important issue, the Constitution. And tonight I see, by the way, before I get going on that, I see a lot of faces that I know. And Mr. Wood, for example. I got a lot of my people here. Oh.
Stand behind here so you're not in front of the screen.
Okay.
Okay. And we got technical problems here. Okay.
Wing it.
Just stand on this side of that.
Okay.
Okay, great. And this is forward, and this is backward. Okay.
Oh, good.
Got it. Okay.
Forward and back. Okay. Anyway, so it's good to see the support we have here tonight. There's going to be a lot of people here that are probably like, what in the world is a militia? Does anybody know what a militia is? Other than what the liberal press wants to get into your head. Does anybody know what it is? Go ahead.
Every able-bodied man up to the age of, what is it, 45?
48.
48.
Yep. Very good. Did you all hear that? Every able-bodied man from the age of 18, actually 17, parent, all the way up to 48 years of age. Okay? Thought it was 46 and I moved it up. At any rate, so this sounds really loud to me, but am I fine? Okay. So with that being said, the militia, we are here in eastern Washington. We are the 63rd Battalion Lightfoot Militia for Washington State. We are a legal militia. Well, what does that mean? It means we're sanctioned by Washington State to be a civilian, I don't want to say military because we're not a paramilitary group, although it seems like we are. Okay? We are simply citizens that volunteer their time, their energy, and their money to uphold the Constitution of this Washington State and the United States of America. We, each and every one of you, whether you like it or not, is a militia member. Whether you like it or not. You're just not active. Because when the crap hits the fan, and it will, and each and every one of you, if you don't understand that now, more than happy to talk to you after, bring you up to speed. But each and every one of you are a militia member for Washington State. Now understand there's not a national, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, there is not a national militia. State militia. That's the way the Constitution is designed so that we, in our AO, okay, our backyard, we uphold and secure our property, our families, our neighbors, our loved ones, and everything that we have. That's why it's designed for the state. And there's other reasons too we don't need to get into tonight. So my concern for each and every one of you is, what are you doing about being a militia member? Right, exactly. Not a single hand went up and said anything. I'm surprised my people didn't do that. You got a cool shirt. Got cool BTUs. But I do have a hand over here. Yes, if you're over 48, you're not necessarily in the militia. Oh, that's what you're doing. Well, I'll tell you what. If and when that crap hits the fan, okay, and it's coming as we all know, you will be a militia member on a volunteer basis to protect yourself and your loved ones. The point in saying that is that we have a duty to defend ourselves. We have a duty to defend our neighborhoods, our state, and our country as each independent. I don't care if you're male or female, young or old. That's what we have. And my concern is that how many of you are prepared to do that? Wow, really? Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate the night. That's good. Now, what does being prepared mean? I just want to hear, we had a lot of hands go up. Let's hear one or two people, what does being prepared mean? Want somebody in the way back? Okay, that's good. That's important, right? We have another one over here. Say that again. I can't hardly hear him, sorry.
Military trained.
U.S. military trained. Very good. Okay. How many of you have 6 months of resources behind you? Minimum. How many of you have a year? Minimum. Okay, very good. Wow, we have a real sharp group. Now, how many of you know how to use a weapon? Liars. Liars. You're all liars. But I tell you what, that's excellent. If that's in fact true, that is absolutely excellent, and I commend you greatly. The reason for, let's hear one or two of people why it's important to know how to use a weapon. Why would you have to use that weapon? Somebody. Looters. What else? Zombies. That's my registered nurse speaking.
Maybe the army?
Maybe an army. A army of some sort, right? Okay. So the point is to defend yourself, one, and therefore hopefully keeping yourself alive that you can what? Then protect the rest of your family, right? Your loved ones, your neighbors, your churches, whatever it takes. Now, it's easy to go out into the, take your weapons and go down to one of the shooting ranges outside or inside, right? And I'm sure many of you have done that because a lot of you, almost all of you, raised your hand and said, hey, I know how to use a weapon. But now what do you do when you are together and you need to breach a house? You need to take a house. What do you do then? You don't know. You have to have a plan. Perfect. Thank you. You have to have a plan. What goes along with that plan? Community awareness of what each and every one of you, if you look across the room, knows. If I don't know what you know with your weapon, how do I know how to use it, us to use it as a team? We don't. What it ends up doing is you end up hurting yourself. So each and every one of you that raised your hand looks good, looks great on paper, looks great here tonight, but the trouble is you don't know what to do with it. The militia, the 63rd Battalion Lightfoot Militia, is exactly what that is all about. It's about training, learning about how to use those weapons, how to do tactical strategies together so that we can be a team to do what's necessary when the crap hits the fan. Any questions with that? Yes.
Can we meet together and do this?
We do this once. We do this once a month at least, okay, as a 63rd, and then we do it as a secondary, what we call a military occupation specialty. For those that have been in the military, it's MOS. What we use is change it from military to militia, so it's a military occupation specialty, and we have it broken down into different categories as to what actual specialties that would then we train you in so that you can learn to be the best at whatever you are interested in doing in the militia. Now, some of you say, well, you know, I'm not interested in carrying a gun. I'm not really interested in doing much of that. Well, it's too bad. We still push you to do it. But it's not your specialty. You may want to be logistics. Okay? You may want to be medical. Okay? We have an excellent medical group. That medical group, in fact, my lead now, since Steve Boff has left, he was a nurse anesthetist, and we have Lynette Hammer is here tonight. She's my registered nurse. She's right here. And we have other registered nurses and people in the medical field. We have a lot of professionals in the militia. Okay, this isn't for rednecks. You don't see my teeth missing. You don't see Tim's teeth missing. Okay, this is a professional group, and I run it that way. And we need professional people with a professional attitude to come alongside us and to train with us. You need to get the training. Because I'll guarantee you, if you don't have the training, if you don't have the familiarity with the people that are your neighbors and friends, all these people in here alongside you, you are going to fail. And you're going to fail miserably. We can only do it together. That's what it is. It's community. That's why the military does it together. Even in the United States Army, Special Forces, or the U.S. Navy SEALs, or the Marine Recon, or any other Special Forces group, okay, Special Ops group, they have at least 9-man teams. We don't do it separate. We could never get it done. We're not Rambo. Okay? And you aren't expected to be Rambo either. But you can educate yourself no matter what age you are to be better prepared to help out. Yes, sir.
Who is the opposing force?
Who is the opposing force? Does anybody have a question or can answer that question?
See if this is. I think this is working.
Well, my voice is loud. I don't know if you missed in the presentation at the beginning. We're about upholding the Constitution, defend the Republic, and protection for our community. You read into that what you want.
Very good, Tim. Thank you. And this fine lady, who was that? Was back there? Oh, he did better? Okay. That's what we're for. You know, we don't come up with the term zombie was brought up. We're not here to fight zombies. Okay? I'm sure that if that time comes, we'll do that well too. We're here in the event of emergencies as well. Okay? How many storms have we had in the last 3 weeks now? Right? And the one that's going on right now that's supposed to be pretty bad, supposedly, according to the weather report. Okay? I live out in Colbert. I lost my power twice. First time three nights, or 3 days, and the next one was 4 days. This last one was 4 days. I had a fire a quarter of a mile away to the northeast, thank God, and nobody lost their home in that. But then we had that Highway 2 fire, which was about, as a crow flies, about 5 miles away. Okay? If that would have went rampant, it would have been a mess. We as the militia are here to help you. We do whatever we need to do. Whether it's securing your neighborhood or whatever, we're there to secure that. We work very close with Sheriff Ozzie Konevich. I have meetings at least 4 times a year with him. I'm not here to, I know we have had a lot of politicians and people that are running for that particular office here. We are not political that way. We don't get into that. Yeah, we all have our independent thoughts and everything else, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to defend the Constitution and to help our citizen. So, as it states right here, defend the Republic, extremely important. Protect our community, extremely important. And again, we have men and women, some of them that can barely walk. And we have still a mission for them to do. So don't be afraid that, well, gosh, I'm just all hung up, my knees are bad, and I just can't do it. Yes, you can. It's right here. The reason that some people succeed farther than others, whether it's in military or civilian life, is because they have it here. The wanting, the pushing to do it. Each and every one of you can do that. I know it. I've seen it. As a trainer in the military and outside, I have seen people be able to, that we're almost losers in the respect of how we would label them in society. And they've pushed themselves so well that they've succeeded exceedingly well. We all can do that. This is Steve Both. He was our anesthetist as well, nurse anesthetist. He ended up getting a position. I don't know exactly where he had a few different places. We don't know exactly where he ended up going once he got done. Great trainer. And he's right here. We're in one of our training facilities up north, and he's doing combat readiness course in accordance with medical training. We actually do IV insertion. How many of you can do an IV? Okay, so there's probably about a half a dozen of you that can do an IV. That's good. How many of you get to do that, at least every 3 months? We got a couple, right? Okay, well, that's what's important. The thing is, if you don't do it regularly, if you're not being schooled and being able to practice that, how do you expect to do it? When your wife is dying in front of you, for whatever reason. We teach incredible first aid practices. It's not just in combat, but we do, of course, do that. Because the point is that if somebody does get hurt in that way, then they know how to work at saving somebody. It's also a great benefit for you when you're out in civilian world and you come across an auto wreck. And you are the first responder. What do? I'll guarantee you most of you will want to do something. Most of you up here may go, well, I'm going to do something. The trouble is you don't know what to do. We're part of teaching you on how to do that. So right here we also have communications. Great, thank you, Deborah. Communications. We teach you how to build antennas. They're portable, they move around, so that you can use your ham radio, your two-way radios. Whatever we're using communication-wise, there's Deborah's putting one up here. That's a ham radio. And we teach people how to make these things, and it's simple. This is Ken Barker. He's my communications officer. He's been with the unit as long as Tim and I have been as well. He's a senior communication officer. He also, works for the hospitals here as a professional computer and does all the technical work for that within the hospitals. Communications as well. We have trainers that are previous military as well. This is one of our trainers. He was in the sandbox, and right now, in this particular case, he's talking about land navigation. And we teach you how to use a compass. Because I guarantee you, nobody knows how to use a compass. And when all our wonderful, fancy electronics goes down, you aren't going to have anything. And if you're away from your home when all that happens, how are you going to get home? There's a good chance you won't. Or if you have to navigate somewhere else with all that down, how are you going to get there? We teach you how to do that. Weaponry, of course, we already talked a little bit about weaponry. This is one of our trainers that was in the weapons course, Dave. He's an ex-Marine. He was communications specialist. He's also one of our senior comm officers, but he's also one of our highly trained marksmen for short-range and long-range operations. And he's an excellent benefit to the unit as well. And we teach you long-range and short-range, long rifle, and sidearm usage in the proper way. In the proper way. Not just getting a bullet in the right little X. Okay? There's a lot more to it than that. If we go back, can we go back for a sec? Who's this? What gender do you think that individual is? A girl. That's right. We have girls in the militia, and they're tough gals, and I love them. And some of them are here right tonight. At least 3 or 4 are here tonight alone. And they get out in the bush, and they learn exactly what the men learn. They may not be in operations, okay? Not to say they couldn't be, because there's not a wall there for that. But there is operations, which is basically your infantry or high infantry training, and that's our specialty. That's their actual MOS. That, by the way, before we move on, this is part of our training facility. We have vehicles. We have framed-in areas in order to train you how to breach a front door, a back door, stairwells, things like that. How to be protective under cover. Go ahead. This in particular time is one of our weekend training. We're in Idaho here, and we're actually with Idaho members as well. We also have, during that period of time, we also have Montana militias as well that are there. So we have Washington State militias across the state that come here as well. So we'll have 200 people in there training. Does that look like fun? It is fun. And the reason I started doing this, and we actually were due to do it again here pretty soon, is rappelling. And the reason why you rappel is you go like, well, I'm never going to rappel out of my master bedroom. Well, that's probably true. But I do it for one reason. One, it's great knowledge. It's great fun. And guess what? You bond. When your life is on the line and you're scaling down the rope, and you have someone down at the bottom and you have someone at the top helping you, it's a bonding moment. Just like jumping out of an aircraft. Perfectly good aircraft. It's a bonding moment. Okay? But it's an incredible exhilaration, and it allows you to instill in your mind, wow, I can do this. I can do this. I mean, I can't even tell you. There are people that have, and females, by the way, that were so scared I could hardly get the rope attached to their body. They were shaking that bad, and that's not an exaggeration. And in fact, 2 of them kind of fell slightly and hurt themselves just kind of coming off over the edge. But you know what? Those those ladies continued to do well and made it all the way down and wanted to go again. So again, it was another thing of fear over heights, fear with dealing with other people, and they did it. Community outreach, we do that. This is our booth. I believe it's a wonderful, incredible booth. We have it at gun shows and other areas. Sometimes we set it up and we talk to people, talk to the community here in Eastern Washington. Everybody remembers the Olympia rally? We were there. We were there supporting it. We're there. That's Tim Carson on the right, and that's me on center there, slightly disguised as kind of being a blob. But and I don't know if this was a reporter or what, but anyway, we're going up into the government, and we are actually able that day, with our weapons, we were able to actually walk into the Capitol, which really blew me away, even because I didn't think they'd ever let that happen.
Go ahead,
Tim.
I got a funny onto that. So we're not even asking, and we don't even know if it's okay, because really we didn't care. This was a Second Amendment rally in Olympia. There's probably 2,000 people there, complete with a drone flying overhead. We got pictures of. So we go walking in. I gave, the little, everyone's got a protest sign, at these things. So I handed mine off to a little kid that was next to me, and so did a couple of the other gentlemen around me. We go walking into the Capitol, and just off to the side, here's this elderly lady at a card table. Look at card table. And if any of you have been in the Capitol, see how ornate the marble is. It's just a stunning structure, absolutely stunning. We go walking in, and she tells these people with these signs, says, you can't bring those sticks in. We were about 2 paces behind, and I just said, well, these are semi-automatic rifles, and we just kept going.
But the point is that we're saying is they wouldn't allow the sticks, but they allowed the weapons, which was really kind of weird. So here was this lady, fine lady, probably 87, 88 years old, just the sweetest little gal, and you can't bring those sticks in. It was just great. Anyway, to wrap it up, I ask you, sir, what is the militia? It is the whole people, except for a few public officials.
Which one?
No, I'm not raining on anybody's parade here. That's Rob. Anyway, if you ever want to come and just visit, we have a 63rd meeting every third Friday of every month, period. Okay, third Friday. And then our following day is Saturday. That's our training day. Now, the military occupation specialties are in it once you're involved as a member. That's a whole different day as well. It's only a few hours in the evening sometime. But what I do want to make sure that you understand is that it is open to anybody. And we would love to have you come and be a part of that. And I hope you have all read what Thomas Jefferson... Yes, sir.
You're comfortable with Mr. Knezevich as far as working with him and everything?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we actually are. And I look... Yes, what he just say? He was asking if we were comfortable working with the sheriff.
No, Mr. Knezevich.
Mr. Knezevich, who is the sheriff. I have no problems working with anybody. But let me say this. I don't care who it is. You keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Okay? You need to communicate, and that's how, no matter who you were, no matter what your background is, you need to learn to communicate. That is the way that we reason, is through communication. So thank you.
To expand on that a little bit more, when Dan and I were talking with Sheriff Knezevich, and we'll do the same thing with maybe Sheriff DeBior in here, we said that, you stay on the Constitution, we're friends. As soon as you go off the Constitution, we're not friends anymore. So it's kind of like that. Do we have any questions to wrap this up?
Okay. I asked Ozzy, what would you do? What if some feds came along and tried to, take over my home or take what's mine or disarm me or something like that? And he said that's not going to happen. And so one time I asked, another time I asked him that question, and I said, "Wow, why do you think it's not going to happen?" And he said, "Well, if the feds think that the people are armed, you think they're going to take chances?" So I don't know. What do you think is a likelihood that might happen?
Tim, do you want to answer that, or? You want me?
He took an oath to defend the Constitution. I doubt what people say. I believe what they do. When and if that comes down to it, we're there to back him up. And if he doesn't back it up, we're there to back you up. That's what it's about, as long as everything's constitutional and stays right. It's not unlawful to disobey a non-constitutional law, and that's something people need to know.
Amen. Any other questions before we move on for the evening? Yes.
I kind of had a question along the lines of, you say defend the Constitution, and yet our federal branch of government has practically overturned the Constitution in many instances. And then you have all these agencies like the IRS and the EPA and I don't know what else. They have their own militia or SWAT teams ready to pounce on anybody. Their hammer is a lot bigger than what y'all have, I'm sure. What do you do in a situation like that?
Yeah. Well, and that's a good question. That's a very good question, and I hope you all heard that. But you didn't hear that? Okay. What she stated was that the federal government has basically a larger militia than we are able to bring up, and that's not true. We, the people. There are 356 million people in this nation. There isn't a military, there isn't a police force that can overcome that. That's why you are empowered by being there and being a part of a militia and learning. Because I tell you what, you could have 50 police officers against 100 militia members that rally up and come, and there's not going to be a thing that happened. The reason that happened in Nevada, right, was because there was militia members that were willing to move from their state and go support him. I don't care what about his racist thing, whatever. Okay, that's, by the way, is all the reason why Matt Shea went there, was to help also to defend and protect his people that were there, as well as other Americans, because he is an American soldier. He is a representative of Washington State. And I'll tell you what was mentioned earlier about that, just absolutely, and Tim and my other officers, I was so beat red with this man that stated what he stated against Matt Shea. Yeah, he is a liar. He is a deceiver, and please do everything you can to absolutely turn him down. But what I do want to say is that Matt Shea, I was in contact with him totally the whole time. We cannot, as a unit, as a 63rd Battalion, a legal militia, we cannot go down there as the 63rd. But what I was prepared to do in speaking with Matt Shea when he was down there, when he was on his way down, was that once he got down there to just look at the tactics and what's going on there, and then he was to get back to me. Then we, as free men and women, were ready to go. We were all postured. We were in a code red. We were ready to rumble. But then he said, well, I don't think we need to do that at this time. It looks like it's kind of winding down. And I tell you what, one of the things as commander, the last thing I want to do is get anybody hurt. I don't want anybody hurt. But I also know the expense and what it takes to defend ourselves individually and as a nation. Yes, one more, Rob.
Well, to add to that, I understood that they wanted elected officials down there to prevent a bloodbath because it wasn't likely to happen if they were there. So it was more than just being there to do that, and it probably did. The second thing is probably a really dumb question, but where do you get the name 63rd Lightfoot? Does that mean there's 62 others?
Yeah. It's actually broken down by the state tax areas. So actually, this, if you looked at our original deal, it'll say 42nd Field plus 63rd Battalion Lightfoot. So it goes for Eastern Washington and for Spokane County. Okay, does everybody understand that? Is that right, Rob? Is that correct?
It's actually the number of the state as you entered the Union. So we were the 42nd state into the Union.
Yes.
So we're the 42nd Field Force, and Spokane County is the 63rd Battalion. So each county has its own.
Yep.
And that goes right around the country. They're
Okay.
huge. The Lightfoot Militia Group is got national standards. So it goes right around the country. So you have the Idaho, they got the 55th, and Delaware is the first field force. And it goes on like that.
Yeah,
Great.
good job. Thank
Well,
you.
I want to say thank you. Let's do one more question, but we are running
yeah,
late.
I knew this
so.
was good.
Why are you so quiet? The militia. Why are we here? We got a notice to come because of what was being discussed. Why is this so new to all of us? And secondly, you talked about your meetings. Where are they?
Yeah, I didn't get to that, so thank you very much. Okay, third Friday, third Saturday training. That's up at our training center up in just south of Deer Lake. The actual meetings, though, are conducted at Savage House Pizza, in the big room there at Savage House Pizza. She, by the way, is a patriot. She's a great patriot, and we support her greatly. So it's at 6 o'clock on Friday nights, the third Friday, and we don't actually start the meeting till 7. So if you come at 6, it's to help support her restaurant. Okay? Good.
Same as we do here is support. You know, we support Darcy's by buying the food. Do the same thing for Savage House, and that's on Dishman.
Dishman,
right?
Micah,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Savage Land, I guess, yeah.
Militia have a website.
Yeah, the militia has a website. You can just Google real quick, 63rd Battalion. That's all you need to do. It'll come up, and you'll get to that website that you saw in the very, very beginning. Any other questions, feel free to ask after, okay? Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks so much. Okay, we have some people standing. I know there are a few chairs here, a few chairs back there. Thanks all for staying, and we will start the movie, which, you know, 2 years ago I never would have shown this movie. I would have told you it was conspiratorial, that all this other kind of stuff. It is climate engineering. And so we hear a lot about global warming and how we can control it. And I mean, this is just a whole spin. You guys are going to learn a lot. It's pretty fun. And I do have one of these for sale. So after you see the movie, $20 or best offer. So let's get going.